So welcome to my first video of 2016. Unfortunately, YouTube has decided that they are ending the webcam recording option. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pre-record these videos now and then upload them. So if the sound is a little bit off from the audio on these kind of videos, apologies, but it's unfortunately the only way. They said it's going to go off on the 16th of January, but I'm having difficulty today even trying to do one just now. But I want to talk about what could be very well the biggest story in wrestling, at least one of the biggest stories in wrestling of 2016. Yes, we're just less than a week into January and already a huge story is broken. Now, many people have known about this story, but of course I want to discuss it as well. Last night, or very late last night, certainly UK time, Court Bauer of MLW Radio. Now, I'm not saying he was the first to report the news, to confirm the news, or whatever, but certainly Court Bauer of MLW Radio put up a mini podcast about 6 minutes long on the VIP subscription of MLW Radio, the podcast network, and he reported, this is where the first time I heard it, he reported that he'd heard that Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, along with 2 to 3 other New Japan Pro wrestlers, possibly members of the Bullet Club, had either quit or given their notice to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, from the reports it seems today, a lot of people are reporting that the other 2 names to give their notice or at least be quitting, to be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling, is Luke Doc Gallows and KARL Machine Gun Anderson. Now, these gentlemen have been 4 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's top stars. For KARL Anderson, he's been there for approximately about nearly 7 years or so now. And AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura have been 2 of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling's top main event talent for the last couple of years now. Now, this is as yet unconfirmed, but also reports are saying that they have signed for WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. Now, if this is true, this is a heck of a raid on New Japan Pro Wrestling's talent roster. I mean, let's look at these guys. I mean, let's take a look at what talent these guys, what stature these guys have. First of all, Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, there's been a lot of interest apparently from WWE for him over the last year or so. He's 35 years old, 6'2" or 1 meter 8 to 8, 104 kilograms or 229 pound. He's a 13-year veteran, debuted August 29, 2002. He is, of course, been described as one of the most charismatic, popular, and certainly skilled wrestlers in New Japan currently. A friend of mine, Damien O'Connor, the Beast of Belfast, actually had a match with him at, I believe it was Rev Pro Wrestling in London. I think it was a couple of months ago now, or a few weeks ago. Apparently they had a heck of a match. Nakamura is certainly one of the most talented guys. Currently, still, as far as I'm aware, the IWGP Intercontinental Champion in his 5th reign. Apparently, Kenny Omega pinned him cleanly on the January the 5th show, which is last night. It's kind of also we saw Wrestle Kingdom 10 on January 4th. I haven't watched all of that show yet. I've watched about an hour and a half of it, so just under half of it. I've not had the chance to sit down and actually watch the entire thing yet, but I will be in the next couple of days before I put up one of my podcasts, which I normally do, Neil Malone's Wrestling and Life podcast. It's on Podomatic.com or on iTunes. I'll be sitting watching that before I do a podcast. I want to see what happened with TNA and SmackDown as well before I do. He is a 3-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion, a 1-time IWGP Tag Team Champion with Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he's also won the G1 Climax Tournament in 2011 and the G1 Tag League in 2006, where he partnered Masahiro Chono. Certainly one of the most popular, talented, a hell of a worker in New Japan. That knee that he gave AJ Styles to end their match on Monday at the Wrestle Kingdom was amazing. And where could he go? I'll talk about that after I go through these guys. Next up, Luke Doc Gallows. He's 32 years of age. He's of course married to Amber O'Neil, who has been known as the Bullet Babe. I did see a couple of pictures from the January 5th show that New Japan did as their post Wrestle Kingdom Raw kind of event, like a post WrestleMania Raw. I did notice that he's pictured giving the Too Sweet sign along with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks after they kicked AJ Styles out of the Bullet Club. But he may, the rumor, strong reporting that he may be one of the guys that has resigned. Maybe he's working out his notice period. Maybe we'll see him just suddenly disappear from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Or maybe he'll get kicked out at the end of the month. We don't know. He's 6'8" or 2.03 metres, 304 pound or 138 kilograms. He's been trained by Bill DeMott and Deep South Wrestling. He of course came through very much through the WWE system. He did appear on the independent scene for a couple of years, not very long, like 2 to 3 years before he was picked up by WWE. Because you've heard him before on, he and also Karl Anderson be a part of the Talking Shop podcast on MLW radio, and it's a half an hour every Saturday. It's released, and they talk about their life travelling in New Japan. He's been actually doing the Wrestle America promotion for about a year or so now, but he started at maybe start of 2015, certainly not too long ago, maybe a year at the most that he started it. We'll see. Luke Gallows has been in WWE before, Big LG. He's known as also, he's been known in WWE as Festus. He was also the Imposter Kane. So he has got WWE experience, and of course he was also IWGP Tag Team Champion 3 times with Karl Anderson, and of course they lost those tag belts on the Wrestle Kingdom show, so it's quite possible that if Karl, I do think it is possible if Karl Anderson is moving on, that I think his World Tag League partner of 2013, where they won the tournament, Luke Doc Gallows, might actually move on with him. And talking about Karl Anderson, and here's an interesting point, I think a little bit ignored by some in this situation. Machine Gun Karl Anderson, he's 35 years old, he's 6 foot or 1 metre 83, 241 pound, and looked absolutely ripped. He looked in extremely good shape at Wrestle Kingdom. So I've only watched half. I haven't watched the IWGP Tag Title match. I do know the results of Wrestle Kingdom, but certainly the pictures I've seen of the event, he looked absolutely in peak physical shape. He's 241 pound or 109 kilograms. Trained by Les Thatcher and Roger Ruffin. Debuted May the 10th, 2002. In New Japan, he's worked there for, like I said, about 6-7 years now. He is IWGP Tag Team Champion. Now, this is the interesting bit that I feel. IWGP Tag Team Champion 4 times, both with Giant Bernard and Doc Gallows. He won the G1 Tag League in 2009 with Giant Bernard, obviously Matt Bloom, who is now with WWE as an NXT trainer. And he also won the World Tag League in 2012 with Hiroki Goto. Now, the interesting thing that I feel about this situation is Matt Bloom, Tensai, A-Train, Albert. I can't remember exactly what name that he used last, but certainly he is a trainer. Giant Bernard, a former tag team partner, and apparently and they were an extremely good tag team in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You go back, you watch any of their matches, they were excellent matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But some of the biggest teams, I think, Kojima and Tenzan, they had a couple of great matches with them. There really was some fantastic good matches, and so it is quite possible that Bernard, Matt Bloom, Albert, has possibly put in a word for Karl Anderson. He may have thought, we need to bring in a few more guys, and that's a good thing about as well. It's possibly something for a future video that I'm thinking of doing about NXT. They're bringing in a load of people, international experience, James Storms, Asuka's, so it is quite possible, and I certainly feel that with Gallows and possibly Anderson, certainly Anderson more, it's possible that Karl Anderson has done everything he really can in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He said, do listen to the Talking Shop podcast. You hear the tremendous success that he and the Bullet Club have done over the past few years. I mean, the Bullet Club have been going for a few years now with Devitt, now of course Finn Balor, and then AJ Styles kind of took over the ace role. I think it was more Anderson that was supposed to be the leader of it since Devitt left. I do feel Anderson possibly done everything he can, and especially at the age of 35, he may be wanting to make the jump up to make big money, and that is one of my concerns with AJ Styles as well. He is 38 years old, 5'11" or 1 meter 80, build 220 pound or 100 kilos, trained by Rick Michaels, making his debut in 1998. Now, of course, AJ Styles, I don't need to tell people, he is one of the most decorated guys out there in professional wrestling. And I've got the list right in front of me. IWGP Heavyweight Champion twice, Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Champion, ROH World Tag Team Champion with Amazing Red, winner of the Pure Wrestling Championship Tournament in 2004. In Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, he was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion 3 times. The NWA World Tag Team Championships he won 4 times, once with Jerry Lynn, once with Abyss, and twice with Christopher Daniels. When it comes to the TNA title, he's won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship twice, TNA X Division Champion 6 times, and he has also won that TNA Legends or Global or Television Championship twice. He's also been TNA World Tag Team Champion 2 times, first time with Tomko and also with Kurt Angle, winner of the Bound for Glory series in 2013, won the Gauntlet for the Gold in 2007, tag teaming with Tomko again, first TNA Triple Crown Champion and first TNA Grand Slam Champion. Now my concern is with AJ Styles in this situation is injury. He's been an 18-year veteran. He's reportedly been suffering from some back issues, some back injuries. Apparently he couldn't wrestle for most of December, and I know that he is still was still carrying an injury into Monday. Now I do know that he is currently still scheduled, and he will be appearing, according to 5 Star Wrestling, on their tour of England in just a couple of days. I think it starts on the 15th. It's 5 Star Wrestling. They're actually a Dundee-based video game company. The 5 Star Wrestling games available on the PlayStation Network. You see the poster behind me, actually, for the first show that they did back in September. Unfortunately, they're not doing a Scottish date, which is weird because they said that one of the cities that would certainly be included is Edinburgh, and that they would certainly be doing a Scottish date on their tour next year. But they've announced it, I think it's Sheffield, Newcastle, and wherever it is. But 3 dates, but they're not doing the Scottish date, which I feel is a great shame, especially with what's happening. And they've got some great talent: Jay Lethal, John Morrison. In fact, AJ Styles will be taking on Rey Mysterio in what possibly could be the only time in Sheffield. I think something like the 16th or something. Certainly that match is going ahead. 5 Star Wrestling put up a post earlier on saying that AJ Styles, though there is the rumours that he's going to WWE, he is still committed. He's still going to be there doing the 5 Star Wrestling tour. So it does seem that that's a question that his body, the injury that he has, back injuries are very precarious. if you suffer too many back injuries or a serious enough back injury, your back will get weaker and weaker, and there's pretty much nothing much you can do about that. If you start suffering from serious back injuries, then unfortunately it will end your career. There's not much you can do. Guys like the $1 Million Man have had to retire due to back and neck injuries, and they just haven't, they've had to retire. So, and I know you can get various surgeries these days for various different injuries, but unfortunately, if it does reach that so serious point, there's nothing you can do about it. If it comes that bad, no, you won't be able to get cleared. Certainly in WWE, I mean, we all know the story quite a few years ago now, why Nigel McGuinness didn't end up working in WWE. So if hopefully AJ Styles can recover from his back injuries, and hopefully he can. I'm sure WWE, if they do sign him, hopefully they will be able to clear him medically, and that'll be a big tell. If like Nigel McGuinness was set to go to WWE, he was all set. We all thought he was on his way. The contract was supposedly signed, but then he got denied through medical reasons. I do feel for Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, this may, given their ages, this may be a kind of last ride, but a kind of last run, kind of a roll of the dice. They want to ride with it. So see, maybe perhaps they could earn the big money in WWE. Maybe this could, they could be seeing this as really the end of their career. They could maybe be seeing that. We may have only got a few years left in us. Maybe if they can remain healthy, maybe 10 years, depending on what the schedule is that they're going into. They may think, well, they only have like maybe 5-10 years, left in their career. Perhaps they want to make the big money. They want to jump to WWE. They want to not end their career without going to WWE. And certainly, in my opinion, it's possible they could. The earning potential for them is huge in WWE. There is no doubt about that. Where they come into WWE, that is a big question as well. NXT is, I think, most likely for the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura. WWE always want to kind of educate guys out of their own independent style or a Mexican style, or certainly a Japanese style. I can see Shinsuke Nakamura perhaps going to NXT. Gallows and Anderson, I think again the same. There would be a little bit of just slight retraining with them, so we could maybe see them in NXT. AJ Styles has got a possibility, working in TNA for so long, working American independence. There is a possibility, certainly with all of these guys, to jump up to the main roster. The sad fact is that WWE, in my opinion, it's sad that WWE really haven't been doing this. They've been taking guys like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, James Storm, and they haven't been putting them immediately into the main roster. I mean, it's been quite a few years now since WWE actually signed somebody and immediately let them leap over the NXT or developmental system straight to WWE. They didn't even do it with the likes of Alberto Del Rio. Or in Sin Cara, they insisted Sin Cara spent a little bit of time in the developmental system. And yes, I know, look how that turned out, but there is no real anybody that comes in straight into the main roster. I think for perhaps AJ Styles, that might be a good thing to do. Just bring him straight into the main roster. They haven't done it for quite some time. It may be a good surprise, good shock. Of course, they've got the Royal Rumble coming up. There's always one or two shock entrants into the Royal Rumble or surprises. We've seen legends like Diamond Dallas Page or Bubba Ray Dudley, into the Royal Rumble the last couple of years. So we may see one or two of them, and I wouldn't, to be honest, even with it being for the WWE Championship now, the Royal Rumble, that is, I would not actually. I would say to them it would be a good idea even to put AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura into the Royal Rumble match as kind of a shock, a surprise. I mean, they could put them in the Royal Rumble match and then have them put in like NXT system and make them work there a little while. It depends entirely on what their plans is. Like I said, NXT I suppose is more likely. Now, if they do work NXT, we will of course know it in advance, because the NXT events programs are taped. So if Shinsuke, AJ, Gallows, or Anderson, any of these four guys appear on NXT, we will know, because everybody will be tweeting it. Oh my god, I'm here at Full Sail University. Or wherever it is, whether it's I doubt they would debut them at a live event, or possibly a takeover. We don't know. We may get intro videos like we've got Nia Jax or Asuka saying that Nakamura is coming or Styles is here. It's going to be phenomenal, whatever. We will know. We will absolutely know in advance of certainly the programme airing. Now that of course brings up the WWE Network to me, and of course WWE have just this day, or certainly within the last 48 hours, launched the WWE Network in Japan. Now, WWE are always looking internationally at various talents. Obviously, we had before, and even after Alberto Del Rio returned to WWE, they're still looking for a big Hispanic Latino star. They may be, with the WWE Network launching in Japan, they may be looking, and they may have looked, and they may have got Nakamura as a huge Japanese international star. Like I said earlier, he's been described as one of the most charismatic, one of the most it guys in Japanese wrestling. So, they may want him kind of to be the figurehead and to be the interest of Japan. So, the Japanese Purusei fans will say, well, we've got New Japan World, but look, Shinsuke Nakamura, one of our heroes, is on the WWE, and we obviously got Hideo Itami, which was kind of supposed to be that kind of guy. And I hope he does come back soon, because I really want him to be a success in WWE. Whether it'll happen or not, it's very unsure at this moment. But they've got Shinsuke Nakamura, who comes in an instant. He's got a fan base instant. I think there's going to be, I know there's a lot of financial recession and there's a lot of financial concerns in Japan at this time, but there's a guy that instantly people will look, the Japanese fans will look, or followers of Japanese wrestling will look and say, we want to see him on NXT, so we'll sign up to the WWE Network for $9.99 a month, or however much it is in yen. We'll sign up because we want to see Nakamura. We want perhaps we'll see him against Hideo Itami further down the line when Itami comes back. There are so many fresh matches that these guys could have. I mean, Finn Balor versus Nakamura, I think they've probably faced each other before, but certainly this kind of it's still a fresh matchup. It's not been seen in WWE. Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, Rhino. There are just so many NXT stars. Even James Storm. I know apparently James Storm says he's scheduled for a meeting with NXT to see what his future is, really, what his status is in the next 24 to 48 hours. So I do hope that it's certainly potential to see a lot of fresh matches and gain a lot of interest in NXT. I mean, NXT, like I said, they're bringing in a lot of international talent. Asuka's, the Finn Balor's, the Samoa Joes, the James Storms. I hate to repeat all these names, but they're bringing in all these guys. The Hideo Itamis. They're bringing all of these international names. So it'll be good to see where NXT goes in 2016 when it comes to bringing in these international. Is that the plan for WWE? Are they going to continue to search the independent scene for guys to join NXT? Is NXT going to kind of transform into an international independent super show kind of thing, where they've got guys from Japan, Europe, all across America, all these top names that I've mentioned a couple of times now? Will it be that kind of place for NXT? Certainly, it's going to be an interesting story. I'm going to keep my eye on it. Like I said, we'll know if they turn up on an NXT taping. We'll know in advance. We'll know instantly because everybody will tweet it, Facebook it, YouTube it. Everybody will do it. If they show up at the Royal Rumble, which is on the WWE Network, we'll know it because hopefully, depending on what I've got to do the next day, hopefully I will be able to sit down and watch the Royal Rumble live. I'll try and make a point of it. I always do. It's one of my favourite events of the year. But certainly, this is a huge story. This may change, certainly will change the face of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it may change the face of WWE. Like I said, I'm thinking it's going to change really the face of NXT. I think NXT is certainly, as it was in 2015, I think NXT is the brand to watch in 2016. I think that is the really the show that will gain interest for the fans. With these guys coming in, I could see them, like I said, I can see them going NXT rather than the main roster. But as yet, no, nothing has yet been confirmed. There's been no confirmation that AJ or Gallows or Anderson or Nakamura, just, like I said, who is still currently the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, have left WWE or even that they've signed for WWE as of yet. But so this is a good story, a major story. If it turned out that these guys have all signed with WWE, I think that NXT and WWE could pretty much be changed on their heads. And who knows, we may actually get a different WrestleMania than we have otherwise expected it to be.